There's many different ways to make gold in Cataclysm, and my top 10 ways to make gold I'll share with you today in this video. In Uldum, I like to farm these elementals for the Volatile air. The good thing about this farming location is that you can start it at around level 82 or 83. This allows you to farm gold at the same time as you're leveling up your character. However, there's a downside. This is also a questing location and also a very well known farming location. Therefore, there can be competition, and if that's the case, then I usually swap to another one. This is where I farm Volatile Fire in Twilight Highlands. The Volatile Fire, but also air, is used for leveling up proficients to max level, but also for crafting many different epic items throughout all of Cataclysm. Therefore, this material will stay relevant for a long time. I also like to farm dailies, especially in Red. This grants a decent amount of gold, but also because you collect many different materials while you do the dailies. On top of this, you also get the Red commendation, which is a currency you can exchange for rare and epic items. So as you're farming gold, then you also secure yourself some item upgrades. Definitely a win-win situation, especially if you also level up tailoring and leatherworking, because in this zone you get a lot of different leather and cloth. Leveling up your gathering professions, but also selling the materials you farm, is one of the best ways to make gold in the beginning. There is such a high demand for example, leather, herbs and ores. Therefore, I like to level up my mining and farm a ton of ores in the different zones. I remember in the beginning of Wrath of the Lich King, you could easily make 1,000 to 2,000 gold an hour just by farming ores, melting them into bars, or even prospecting them as a jewel crafter and sell the gems. I think the zone that I prefer the most has to be Uldum. I like the environment, but also the way you have to travel around in the zone itself to farm ores. On top of this, if you have herbalism, then you can add another route, and this allows you to farm herbs at the same time. For those of you wondering about the minimap right now, this is my mining route. I usually follow the red route, but in case there's all of a sudden too much competition, then I add in the green one as well. And the last location where I like to farm ores is in Twilight Highlands. I know some of you might be wondering why I don't include the shear, but this is because I don't like that zone right now. Yeah, it can be good, especially if you have the fast swimming mount. In a moment, I'll share even more gold making ways, but first I would like to highlight my Cataclysm gold guide. This is where I talk about my investments and so many different strategies to make a ton of gold that I don't really include in these free videos. So if you would like to take a look at this gold guide, make sure to check out the description below this video. Anyway, on to the next gold making method. If you like to level up fishing, but also make gold with fishing, then I have some great news for you. In Twilight Highlands, you can go to this area with the lava. Here you will find these pools where you can fish up Volatile Fire. Usually there isn't too much competition, but if it's the case, then remember you can always head north where you can also farm Volatile Fire at the location that I shared in the beginning of this video. If you like to PvP and you already have all the gear you need, well then you can spend your remaining honor at this vendor. Here you can exchange your honor into trade goods. Herbs, ores, leather, enchanting materials, yeah even cloth. So if you're honor capped, or if you have alls with honor you don't need, log in, purchase these items, post them on the auction house and earn a profit. And if you're wondering where you find this NPC, then it's in Stormwind City and Orgrimmar at the location where you purchase your PvP items. For those of you with Jewelcrafting, remember you can also prospect ores and hopefully make a profit. It's pretty RNG as you don't know if you get green or even rare gems. If you're lucky enough to get rare gems, then you'll definitely make a big profit. But yeah, it is a risky way, and whenever the ores is too expensive, then it's way better just to sell the ores or melt them into bars. Eventually the price for these might go down, and then there is a bigger profit if you prospect them. However, there's two different ways to make a guaranteed profit. The first thing is to craft your daily fire prism. This you can do once every single day. Crafting this requires some green gems, but when you open up the fire prism, you will also get rare gems. In the fire prism, you will loot between 2 to 3 different rare gems. And if you get the Inferno one, then you're going to make the biggest profit, as this is the most expensive gem as of right now. The other way to make a guaranteed profit is to pick up your daily Jewelcrafting quest. Here you need to cut 3 different gems, and once you have done it, you also complete the quest. This will reward you with a Jewelcrafting token that you can exchange into a material that you can sell on the auction house. So if you have all characters with Jewelcrafting, make sure to do this every single day, as it's a great way to make some additional gold. One thing I like to do as a leatherworker is to craft the different leg armors. These are easy flips, and many of the materials you need you just collect whenever you level up your skinning or just leveling up your character. So if you find any pristine hides, volatile earth and fire and even dragon scales when you level up, then make sure to keep these for your leatherworking. Another thing I like to do as a leatherworker is to convert all my savage leather into heavy savage leather. And this I then convert into the armor kits and post them on the auction house. Usually this also grants a decent profit. As an alchemist, you can craft many different flasks, even transmutes and make gold. But what I also like to do is to craft a potion of treasure finding. When people farm in the open world, having this potion increases their gold making, therefore these can also easily be sold. Make sure to keep all your materials and craft these as you level up your alchemy. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, then gathering professions is such a great way to make a ton of gold in the beginning. Therefore I also like to farm herbalism and especially volatile life. These are used for the different Dark Moon decks that will be quite expensive in the beginning, as they provide some of the best trinkets early on. When I farm herbs, then there isn't really a zone that I prefer the most. I guess it's also because there's usually quite a lot of competition, but nonetheless it's a fun profession to level up and it's going to grant you so much gold. When I farm herbs in Mount Hydial, then I usually follow this route. And if you have mining at the same time, then it can also work quite decently. Just make sure to swap in between the 2 tracking systems. If you're interested in all the different routes that I use, then you can find these in my gold guide as well. Another thing I also like to do is to farm raw gold. So where we basically vendor everything we find, so we don't have to spend time posting anything on the auction house. Of course, if you post the items on the auction house or disenchant, then you'll make even more gold. But this is a great way just to get some raw gold in next to no time. Why I like this spot in Icecrown is because the enemies we have to slay don't have a lot of health, so you can easily kill them and they still grant a lot of raw silver and a high chance of grey, white or even green items. On top of this, you also get a lot of cloth that you could use as a tailor to craft green items and disenchant them. Else you can also post your cloth on the auction house, and this usually sells for a lot more than the vendor price. I've tested this farm many different times, and I usually get around 200 gold in around 10 minutes. If I had the repair mount or well the vendor mount, then I could just instantly sell everything and then get back to farming. But still, we are talking about around 1000 raw gold every single hour. If we sold and disenchanted the green items, yeah, then we could probably talk about 1500 gold with everything being sold on the auction house. But this is only one of many different ways to farm raw gold in Cataclysm. In the future, I'll post a lot more of these videos, so if you're interested in guides and gold making, then make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you like this video, then I also know there's a high demand for a part 2 anytime soon.